Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. And somebody's causing an echo. Jason.
Nope. I'm looking at faces to see who looks guilty.
Nick, is that you?
Nope.
Nope, I got YouTube muted.
Chris, do you have YouTube muted?
I don't even have it up. Well, now I do.
Nope, I have YouTube muted. It's been muted.
All right.
No, but anyway, go ahead, Mike.
Nick, it's you.
So I know what it is. You go in the background. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. I want to take time to thank Jake and Ryan over at Patriot Patch Company for being the bandwidth sponsor of this program. That's patriotpatch.co. As soon as I get my area cleaned up back here, I'll get my nice, lovely Patriot Patch Company banner behind my head again. So, the joys of moving your reloading room, or in this case, reloading and podcasting. So, I also want to take time to thank Sean and the gang over at Firearms Radio Network for giving us a place to hang out. So, just going to do some quick hi, howdy, everybody. We're going to go through what we've all done afterwards, because we have a guest with us from Lyman this evening, and he's on the East Coast, so we don't want to keep him up too late. Jim will sleep when he's dead, so we're not worried about Jim. So, as most everybody knows, I'm Mike. And then we've got Jim, and Nick, and Jason, and Sharenda. And at some point in time in the near future, Travis will be joining us. So, but on that note, so Chris,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Chris Limblom. I am the digital marketing guy, as we'd say, over at Lyman. I do all the social media stuff. I do with influencers, any kind of sponsorship, stuff like that. So, if you follow any of the either Lyman, Mark 7, any of those pages at all those pictures and stuff are most of the time coming from me or a photographer and stuff like that. So we got a lot of time behind just about all of our products. Maybe not individual time behind individual products, but a lot of time behind all the products. So, as far as it goes, I have a decent amount of experience behind the vast majority of our over 2,000 individual products. So. I think you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff over there. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to move screens around. So, what got you into firearms and stuff in the first place? Or
I've always
kind of
been
more job related?
Well, no, actually, I was always into firearms. I grew up hunting. I grew up, shooting and stuff like that. I was actually before Lyman and before I was in marketing. I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years. I was infantry. So I did a lot of shooting there as well. Not only infantry, regular infantry. I was a fast company, so I went to I put tons of rounds down range. They put a lot of money into schooling for me in there. So after I got out, I went to school for marketing and got into the financial industry. Actually, I was there for a while. That's what I said. I had to dip my feet somewhere into marketing, and to be fair, like as dry and boring and terrible as it was, no offense to anybody in the industry, it led me to be able to actually join into on the firearms industry, which eventually is where I wanted to go anyway. So
yeah. So you worked for Lyman.
Mm-hmm.
Lyman's been around for a day or two.
Yeah, late 1800s actually.
Why don't you tell us about Lyman's history?
So Lyman has a broad spectrum of history. Like I could probably go the whole podcast covering just about all of Lyman's history. But
Right.
essentially, what I'll hit on is it started way back in the day. A guy, William Lyman, who's an inventor. He created gun sights. That's what he did. His main inventions that he started into the industry was gun sights out of Middlefield, Connecticut. So he did gun sights, and he actually made reverse rowing oars. So if you're a duck hunter, if you're rowing normally, you have to turn and shoot, but he made reverse rowing ones that pivoted the other way, so you can just pick it up and shoot. So, those were his two things that he really started pushing. He started pushing gun clubs and really trying to build the industry all over the place. He'd even send guys out to the West Coast to undercover for Lyman to start shooting clubs, and just so they can actually have more potential customers, not because they wanted to sell directly, but they wanted to bring up and increase the organization of the shooting industry. In about 1930 or so, in the 1930s-ish, they bought Ideal Reloading, which is how they got into reloading, actually, Ideal reloading products and things like that. So since the 1930s, we are the oldest reloading company-based product company. So that's one thing that we have that was doing well. During the turn of the war, Lyman actually has some decent history within the war, World War II specifically, where the Lyman Alaskan scope became the M82 scope. If you guys know, or if you guys have ever seen Saving Private Ryan, Jackson, which is the sniper, he's got a Lyman scope on there, which I think is an awesome thing that I didn't know before I started working there. So, after that, and somewhere in the 70s, Lyman started picking up companies and things like that. So we're actually now not just a reloading company, we're a brand, a family of brands. We got Takstar, Packmeyer. We picked Packmeyer up, I think, 80s or the 80s, I believe it was. Butch's Borshine, things like that. So we have a whole spectrum of shooting accessories, mainly based around stuff that helps out reloaders, and then other accessories and things like that. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a diverse, I guess, product line, you could say. So.
Yeah, I'd say so. So,
so I know that this year wasn't a real big release year for a lot of new products. Last year was.
Yes.
There was a couple things that I saw at SHOT that I was impressed with, and we kind of talked about those when I got back. But what did you bring to show off tonight?
So, like you said, we didn't really, like this coming year and this last year, we actually produced a decent amount of stuff, a couple things that I can show in general. But one of the year before that was, the trimmer, the express trimmer. That was a big thing that was a huge hit. That's one of, in general, that's doing really, really well in the industry, and it still is. Same with the Case Prep Express. But so this year we had to kind of compete with that. And the only thing that we really wanted to do was we want to do a new set of dies. We want to do a brand new bore cam, which I did bring to show. I won't be able to show operation today because it is app-based on my phone, and I don't have a firearm to actually show on here. I'm not sure how you guys do that as well on your podcast, but we updated our bore cam from the old bore cam we had, which is wire-based, and I think it was 480p on an LCD screen that came with it. But now we decided to go more towards 2020 and create a version that not only had a fixed rod that you can actually insert in there, so you're not trying to fiddle with it the whole time and do a little twist method for anybody who uses those, but it's also decently measured and stuff like that. So this is one of the products that we came out with this year that's doing really well. It's actually a finalist in a couple of different industry-related competitions, so it's pretty nice. Yeah.
Does that connect to your phone or tablet, or how do you see
so
that?
it's you download an app. We designed an app that runs this whole thing from recording the video on it, and it actually produces its own Wi-Fi connection. So it's not Bluetooth, it's Wi-Fi. So this produces the Wi-Fi, it connects to your phone, and then from there you can do tablets, phones, and just about anything, iOS and Android. And you can record anything that you see in the barrel. You can take snapshots, and it comes with a measurement adjustment on the rod. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that to the quality, but so if you do find something, you'll be able to actually record where it is inside of the barrel and potentially be able to clear the obstruction or whatever it is that's going on in there and make any kind of fixes. So, but yeah, we decided that going with an app makes it easier for everybody. It keeps the cost where we want it to be, you know, and everybody has a phone. Like, I don't think anybody really doesn't have a phone these days. So it just made sense to go that direction. Some other stuff we have. I'm going to get to the last. I have a couple other things. I've got something that, you know, we talked. You asked me a question before the show, and you were like, you know, what did well that you guys didn't think was going to do very well, and that would be our brass catchers. Now, as reloaders, collecting brass is like a hobby. It's like Easter egg hunt every other day. You know, you're out there, either whether it's your own or you're trying to sneak in some of somebody else's or whatever you're doing out on the range to rat up some brass. You know, brass catchers will make at least your brass a little bit, you know, cleaner and neater. And this is actually done really well for us for anything. We actually came out because the one that goes onto a rail system did so well for us. It's kind of hard to see right now, but because this one did so well, we actually came out with a universal one that uses Velcro. So even if you don't have a rail system that would work for it, you can just clamp this onto the front of, you know, whatever rifle, and it'll still catch the brass. So this was one product that we were surprised at how well it actually did within the industry and with our customer base. So, and after the show, I'm actually going to send it out to you guys. You guys can use it as a giveaway on the podcast, whatever you guys want to do. Each one of these. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah, no problem. And lastly, what I brought was our. We've been putting a lot of effort into these. It's our new Pro die sets. They're all stainless. This is the 9mm set, which has been up until literally you caught me at a perfect time. These have been sold out and out of stock for just about ever. And even me, as the guy who tries to, you know, take pictures of these things, I haven't been able to get them for so long. And now we finally came back in stock with them. And it's the 9mm Pro die set. And just we have them in a few different sizes right now. You can find those on our website. But they're all stainless steel. You know, the seating and the taper crimp die come micrometer adjustable. And, you know, these things were just created. We needed something that would handle the automation side of our newest product, which was Mark 7. And we wanted to kind of do something that had micrometer adjustments, that was rust resistant and things like that, because, you know, we know how dies get over time. But yeah, this is one of the big things. It's been super popular right from the get-go. As soon as we released these, they were gone. It's so hard to keep these stocked up, but you know, and we finally got new packaging for them. So it's, I don't know. I'm a big fan of just all products across the board. I'm a big fan of good packaging for easy storage when you're not actually using them. So
Yeah. The packaging is huge. So
yeah, I agree. You know, because if you're not using it, keeping it neat and organized and clean, it's pretty important as well. So that's what I had to bring to the show anyways.
Okay. So obviously without stuff that requires an NDA, because we can't discuss anything like that, but what's coming up next?
So we don't have, it's not going to be like all the years past where we're just launching new stuff all the time. We're going to come out with a bunch of new calibers for a lot of our existing stuff. A lot of our time and our engineers' time is placed on the Mark 7 line that we just bought recently last year. But one of the biggest things that we're focusing on, which is taking up more of our time, we decided to put this in priority over everything, is just bringing just about everything in-house. We already manufacture, I'd say, the vast majority of all our products in-house. But even still, with us being one of the largest manufacturers out there, companies still left in reloading, we still saw some issues with things, you know, smaller things that we, you know, farmed out to some of the small machine shops here or there, or overseas, or wherever they were coming from. You know, something like the coronavirus actually took a huge hit on that, and it caused the biggest lag times. And that was always where our funnel was. So one of our biggest pushes is to be able to be completely self-sufficient. And that's what we're really working on. We're setting ourselves up with the staff, the equipment, the machines, and all that stuff to make sure that we're all made in-house in Connecticut, in our facilities in Connecticut or Florida, wherever it is. And, but, you know, just about everything in-house, because everybody's feeling the effects of it. We felt the effects of it. We weren't able to keep up with the demand, and customers went without product for some time. Now we're starting to catch back up and realize this is something that we really need to do. You know, is keep everything, first of all, in America, but secondly, in our factories. So that's our biggest push. I wish I had more new stuff for everybody like at this time. Now there is a lot of stuff. You said it with the NDA. There is a lot of stuff coming.
Yeah.
But we can't.
Obviously.
Normally this time last year we'd be able to drop a couple of things here and there, but we're just not at that point yet with any of them. So it's not like we're dead in the water, but because of our priority push, we're trying to make sure that we don't ever get into a scenario where we can't provide products to the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, I know for me personally, I'm a huge fan of Lyman and Mark 7. I have a 1050 with a Mark 7 auto drive.
All right.
So I'm happy just right now. Like you just said, I'm plenty happy. Forget coming up with new stuff. Just get there's a lot of stuff I want to purchase right now that is just out of stock.
And we're, like I said, we're going pretty hard on our factory in general, trying to just get everything. Like you said, you have an auto drive. If you follow Mark 7 at all, since last year when we bought them till now, we've gone leaps and bounds just getting that stuff made in-house. It was all micro machine shop made, all of it before that.
Right.
We had to bring all of that in. And, all the minute pieces and parts on that, it takes a lot of manufacturing. So, just being able to keep up with that, because that has taken way off as well, keep up with that. And then all the other Lyman stuff has been a juggling like no other. We're juggling 17 different balls and, we only have two hands. So.
Yeah, I know you guys have on your YouTube channel or somewhere I've seen it. Maybe it was Gavin Tube. You guys have like the American 8 turret press, the Victory press, the Ideal press. You make everything in-house, and there's a really nice video out there of your factory and showing the process that you guys take to make all that.
Yeah. We had Gavin come out. I talked with Gavin a decent amount. We had him come out and do all those tours with us, and he's great for the industry because he does all those different things. But yeah, when we say we make everything in house, we actually do. It's not just we're assembling; we're producing. We may bring in some things that are to a certain point of the production or the manufacturing or the machining, but for the vast majority of our products, they are produced right in house. I can watch them come right off the line.
Yeah, that's actually key that you said that, because a lot of people will say they make it in house, and just like you just said, they actually just assemble it in house. They get a lot of their stuff elsewhere.
Yes, and that's across. I mean, that's across so many different industries. So it's not specific to here, but I'm pretty proud of the fact that we still do. I can go out back and see if we need dies, because dies are out of stock. Or I see the question about receiver sights being out of stock, which most likely they are. It's all prioritization for us, which is unfortunate for some things, but they'll get there if they're still a product. But just to go back and be like, all right, when are we going to have these? It's a guarantee that I can talk to the plant manager and he knows when, or I can go watch and look at the machines and see what's coming off, so I can be ready for some. So I can actually give those, like, if a customer calls in or I talk to somebody like, oh, when are you going to have these? Be like, well, we're producing them right now, so give us a little time and they'll be on the shelf. So
yeah, because Lyman, you're not just producing, just reloading stuff. You've got what, 7, 8 other companies under you, like Mark 7, obviously. I know you have A-Zoom.
Yes, A-Zoom's one of them. We have Packmeyer, we have Trice Traps, we have
Tackstar,
Bushes. Yeah, we have Bushes. We have quite a few brands under us that we are manufacturing for the most part. And things like everything has led to a lot of things being out of stock at the beginning of this, but we're catching up on a lot of it. So with that question in mind, you just got to give us some time on those things and you'll see them coming in. I would say your best bet with the question like that, send it into our customer support. Our customer service has gone leaps and bounds in the last 5-10 years, and they have all the intel on things coming in stock, and if they don't have it directly, they can get it for you, and they will get it for you. So, but yeah, that's good. That's kind of the A-Zoom has gone way up. That's been tying up a lot of machines. Everything across the board has just gone up, because of the climate we're in today in the shooting industry. So with that, there's going to be some growing pains that we need to work through.
Yeah, when you're acquiring like Mark 7 and stuff,
Chris?
I'm glad you guys. There's been some debate in the industry about you guys acquiring Mark 7, and
Yes.
me for one, I'm actually happy. Like I say, I own so many Lyman products. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Lyman, and I was actually glad you guys took it because you also
Awesome.
you did that. You were able to make it available to us at a cheaper price for one.
Yes. Did you just out of pure curiosity, how long have you been a Mark 7 user?
Several years. I bought my
pre-Lyman
stuff,
or pre-Lyman?
pre.
Okay, and one of the I run into people pre-Lyman now. The one of the biggest thing about Mark 7, great product, great company. They were just a little bit too small to cover all the bases that product actually needed. They didn't have the customer service in line, didn't have the manufacturing line to really bring down the cost of where it needed to be for the consumer side. And one thing that I'm, glad that we're taking very serious is the customer service support behind not only all of Lyme in general, but specifically a machine like the Mark 7.
Yeah, I gotta say, Misty over there at Mark 7, she does a good job though.
Shout out to Misty. All right, yeah, Misty's amazing. She's an amazing person to work with. She really takes the time. She'll take her free time and FaceTime. It's crazy. It's crazy. She's an amazing customer service rep, and I think she's just great for the company in general. So she's been with it forever too. Pretty sure as long as it's been around. So.
Now
awesome.
I came in a little late. You were holding up a die set. Was that the die set? Was that your new MSR ones?
Yeah, those new Pro dice. Yep,
the new Pro dice. Exactly. We have a question in the chat about those new Pro dice.
Okay, what's the question?
So, wants to know if there's going to be more caliber options for the Mark 7, like say 300 PRC,
Okay.
338 Lapua.
So 338 Lapua is not available for them as of right now, especially let's say for the Mark 7, because Mark 7 cannot run, the Evolution Revolution cannot run in that size. But if you've seen the launch and the preview of the Titan series, it will be able to. Now, in terms of the Pro die sets, yes, we started with all the standard caliber sizes because that's usually what gets ran through really fast, really quickly. So we start with that. And, as we continue, just like all of our die sets and everything like that, we continue to come out with new calibers. So you just got to be, waiting for that. Anytime we get new calibers in, we get new releases, I make sure I send out posts on our, on Facebook or on Instagram, and I also send an email. So if you're not hooked up to our email list or anything like that, and you're looking for that kind of stuff, go to the website and fill out any of those forms. And again, the emails are coming straight from me. So if you get an email, it came from me. So if there's any errors or mess ups, please do not go too hard on me for that. So, but yeah.
So Eat Bacon says we need Keith-style bullet molds, and we need them yesterday, please.
Yesterday, got it. Let me mark that. Say that one more time.
Elmer Keith-style semi-wad cutters. It's a popular for like 357, 44 for bullet casters. So
my best, honestly, as far as, even just like saying it in a chat like this to me, like, again, our engineering team and our new products dev team, they're always looking for recommendations on what should happen. So if somebody sends in, it wouldn't hurt to shoot our customer service message. Hey, when they come out these, or even to me, or any of the things, any of the emails or anything like that. Just always send. If you actually are legitimately looking for something specific to be created, maybe it's not that we don't want to. It's just we haven't thought to do it because there hasn't been a demand for it. So I wouldn't say it's guaranteed, but it couldn't hurt.
Chris, personal question here for me. When are the Pro dies going to be back in stock?
Well, lucky for you, let me just take a quick
Slacker.
look.
See, if you were here on time, you'd have heard Chris say that they're back in stock.
They are not. I'm looking right now.
Okay.
I've been checking multiple times. I want 223, 308, and 300 blackout. None of them are available, and I've been checking like once a week for quite some time.
Okay, so are you talking about the full packs or the?
I want the full Lyman Pro die pack.
And you're saying 9 mil?
300 blackout, 223, and 308.
Okay, so 300 blackout. You're right, out of stock.
223 out of stock.
223 out of stock. 9 mil in stock. I would say.
Yeah, and then you got Oh,
I'm telling you-
I'm super surprised that the 40 is out of stock. I would have thought that was one that you'd have excess of.
and it's not that we're not producing them. I promise you, when they come in stock, they go right out. They're gone. Like I was fighting for these sets. Like they go, the demand for them is really high. So we are producing them at as fast as we can produce them. So like I said, maybe I'll go back and I'll talk to somebody and see if I can't start doing announcements for when they're back in stock specifically. It's not a bad idea. I mean,
for us in the reloading end, like there's a lot of stuff that we do sign up for, like for instance, Acura Outdoors. A lot of us like their projectiles, and that's what we like is they do make announcements, and then we can all just jump over there as fast as possible and overload their servers and buy all their stock right away.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing. I'm always, even though I'm, friends marketing wise with some of these other companies, I'm always waiting to see when the new components come in. So I'm watching, so I can go buy some up for personal use and for marketing use or things like that. So yeah, I'm on that as well. So,
Chris, can I give you a novice tip?
yeah.
Just go ahead and take Travis's info. When these new items come in, before they even go out, just set them in a box, mark Travis, shoot him a text, and say, hey, you got money on your debit or credit card, and then just ship it off to him. And I guarantee you, your sales will probably go up 25% because he's going to be rubbing it in all on social media.
Got it. I'll just box them all up. Yeah, exactly. I'll watch them come up. I'll just let them come right out of the freaking machine, just right into a box. Don't need to package them, do I?
Like I say, I'm a huge fan of Lyman. Every time we talk about trimmers, all that, that's what I recommend is the Lyman trim, your express trimmer.
Yeah.
To me, that is a great value. It's an awesome trimmer. I love your dies, and I was super excited to see that Pro Pack. It's a little pricey, but for what you get, for those listening, if you go over to Lyman's website, you can see they come right. They're all stainless steel, right? For one.
Yep.
They're stainless steel. They have micrometer adjustments on the seating, and what's the other one that has a micrometer set on it?
So
your seating die,
seating and taper crimp. So
awesome, perfect.
That's where we're sitting right now, and yeah, again, they're all stainless. Like we said, it's it's that anti-rust that we're always fighting. So, yeah, we put a lot of time in design and stuff like that, and just
that's beautiful. That's awesome that you guys are making that available. I mean, you have your cheaper dies, but that right there is top of the line in my opinion, right there. I mean, some people like Redding. If I had my choice, I want to at least try that set right there. You got what? Just curious, what caliber is that in your hand?
This is 9mm.
Oh, guess what? I could use that.
You could use one of these. Well, lucky for you, they're in stock on the website. Wow.
Let me go look.
What a coincidence.
Oh, the only one that is available.
Yeah.
Hey,
like
just
I got those with this batch, so they're gonna go quick.
So out of your dies, these Pro Packs, and let's just choose any of your dies. Where does 40 S&W fall? Is that a popular one, or is that kind of on the lower end? Are you seeing a lot of people not getting into 40 S&W?
I think it's just behind all the series populars, like you said, the 223, the 9mm, the 300 Blackout's been huge, the 45, things like that. But it's actually odd because I believe Mark 7's actually been doing a decent amount of 40, and a lot of these sets. One of the reasons why they're going out so quickly, these dies, and they're hard to get in stock, is because they also are with the sale of usually Mark 7 machines, they pick up a Pro Die set as well. So they're rifling out the door. But yeah, 40, I wouldn't say it's obviously up to standard as like the 9mm and 223, but it's decently popular caliber. So,
Chris, I have a question for you. This goes back to your Pro Dies. I realize this is an old machinist talking to a young marketing guy. Okay, you might not have the answer.
All right.
What alloy of stainless steel is being used for those dies?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That's fine.
I can one thing that I can do is I do have a a lot of engineers behind me, but I can actually find that out for you as a machinist, because I know.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. I don't think it says anywhere on here either.
It probably doesn't.
No.
It's probably something like 316, something free machining. It wouldn't be 304 because 304 is one of the toughest materials on the face of the planet.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so like I said, shoot me an email. You guys should have all of you guys should have my email. Shoot me an email with any of that stuff that I can't answer today, and I can definitely get that for you guys.
Good enough. Michael has your email address in the show notes.
Got it.
Yes,
By the way,
indeed.
Travis's comments about the 40 caliber were shots directed directly at me and that other old bastard, Jason.
Jim, I would never.
I hear they're snappy. Is that true?
No, they're mild.
Oh, okay.
They're mild. It's like big hands. It takes big hands, you know.
Big hands. Yeah. Got it. Just rumors I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good grief.
So, Chris, how has it been? I'm just curious. I love Mark 7. So, how has it been since you guys acquired Mark 7?
It has been it has been insane, actually. At the start, again, it was a challenge for me to understand, to wrap myself around the demographic that was the Mark 7 reloader. First, I had to figure out, coming into the industry as a shooter, I always shot factory ammunition or ammo that was given to me at the range, in the military. So I never knew. I didn't even care what was in them. I didn't care as long as it fired. So learning all that and then learning Mark 7, I was kind of mind blown that there was people out there that was like, oh, this is an ammunition factory. Why are people buying this? But it's been like a crazy uphill race. It's actually been amazing. This year has been phenomenal for Mark 7, and Lyman in general has been phenomenal. People can say you can blame specific events this year that happened. You can blame a lot of things. You can blame the industry. But if you're not positioned correctly within an industry, you're not going to do well. And I think we just made a couple of really good decisions last year and years before, setting ourselves up nicely for the fact that we manufacture and that we had some products that were going to be some takeoff products for this year. But it's been awesome.
Yeah, I know Mark 7 started off making auto drives for like the 1050 and such. I think it's really awesome that they make their own press, like the Evolution. It looks so nice. Everything's CNC cut. They've really thought that machine through. And I like I say, I'm just glad that Lyman is now a part of that.
There's a lot more to come. We're just scratching the surface with what we're offering with that, and I get into it under some NDAs and stuff like that. But I can't get into it. But there's a lot to be said that's coming forward. Yes, Mark 7 is under Lyman, but the product should start coming together a little bit better, and you'll see that going forward. It should bring together the entire industry. Like the plan, hopefully, like I said with the Pro Dies, is they're really rated for automation, and they're just up there. They're meant to, obviously with the micrometer, you can lock them onto a machine and just adjust from there. You don't have to really mess with your machine, especially with those automated machines. It's a lot of tinkering, but you're going to see a lot more crossover between the high-end automation and the single-stage turret press kind of stuff.
So how long ago did you guys come out with the American 8 turret press? Because I know for guys who like turret presses, that's kind of one of their favorites.
I wasn't here for the launch of that, but I think it's like a few years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years, something like that. I'm not really sure. The Brass Smith series in general came out, and that's been a huge staple product. The All-American 8 is just anybody who I talk to that uses one, they're happy to send it. I rarely catch somebody that's like, I had this and I switched off of it. And if they do switch off it, it's either going to Progressive or something else, but they always keep that on the side. We got guys that buy dozens of new turret heads just so they can switch them out without having to change up their configuration and stuff like that. So, the way those things have started out and the way they are now, it's a very consistent ride of people just love them, people buy them, and that's, it's a great press. I use one. That's the press that I use most of the time in my pictures and things like that because it just does very well. I think it's a very, very efficient press to use if you're going to get into reloading. especially even for a new loader. I think it's a great thing to set up.
It is, because the nice thing is most turret presses only have 7, right? And the American 8 is, I think it's the only one out there that has 8.
Yeah. So
8 stations.
The other turrets have 7. This one has 8. I mean, if you're paying attention to the industry, there was a 9 that just came out. I think it just recently launched with the
419 area 419. Yeah.
But that's a niche market itself. But back into the competitive realm of where the All-American 8 sits, yes, they're all 7-station presses.
So, because I had your previous turret press, the one that was like Hammerite gray.
Yep.
And so, what was the decision to go from that to the 8-station?
I think just the way people were setting up dies, like our test shooters, they reload on our presses, and I think they just wanted more. They wanted more, and decided we could do more if we can. There's going to be, when the engineers look at something, they look if, by adding more, is it going to disrupt the actual functionality? And if it doesn't, why not do it? And that's kind of what their thought process was there. If we can do it, do it, and if we can do it effectively, let's do it. Because once you get too wide, it doesn't make any sense. You have to keep it within a certain parameter to make sure that it's uses the right amount of material to make it affordable and to make it functioning. So as long as you can do that and they can make it happen, why not? So that's probably what the decision was.
Yeah, because that's the same thing. I have the 1050. I wish it had one more station like the Evolution.
Well, what has more stations than the 1050?
Yeah, the Evolution.
A couple more, just a couple. That's a 10 station. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we're gonna talk about those in a couple of weeks.
Yes, yeah. I'm holding off on really diving deep into that, but I plan on exactly,
because that's been such a big explosion and a big addition that I figured it really needs its own.
Yes.
Because there's so much to deal with on those. So how are the MSR dies doing?
Our dies have always been a very large portion of our, product line. I mean, just in general, where they've been, and a lot of people use them. And usually, when some people are talking, I go all over social media. I read all the different forums and all the different pages, and I'm always in there. So I see everyone's comment when you guys mention Lyman in the comments. 9 times out of 10, I read it because I do searches. I look, and I appreciate those. But so with the MSR die, like, they're doing just as good, if not better, this year specifically than they have. There hasn't been really a fall off in any of that. The reloading industry and the reloading community is only growing. It's actually growing, and it's in some sorts nowadays, it's actually getting younger as well. It's people are getting into reloading not just because it saves money. Let's quote that, saves money. It actually, people just like doing it because it forces you to become a better shooter, to understand your firearm, to understand a lot more about why, when round goes from A to B, like what happens in between. So that's the key. And you'll hear people trying to justify to wives or significant others like, oh, it'll save me tons of money down the road. We know that's not true. That's not true. Who saves money?
Chris, what are you doing?
Wait, this isn't you guys.
Chris.
You guys invite your spouses to this?
No, they sometimes watch or listen.
Oh.
They figured out how to figure out what we're sneaking money on.
Yeah.
This is Fight Club when it comes to things. You gotta talk.
Did I just blow up everybody's spot? Hey, I'm new, guys. I've only been in this 2 years.
Well, I can say the bad thing about those MSR precision dice kit that you have is they're all out of stock.
If that's the worst, that's a problem. I hate going to our website when I go online. I'm like, all right, I want to post about a couple of our products. And I look and I see they're out of stock. And again, this is the year we're in. We are producing at higher rates now than we were. We got hit with it just as hard as everybody else got hit with it at the beginning of this year, and we've been on catch up. But lucky for us, the catch up has been gradually getting faster. We're actually meeting those end deadlines sooner. So
that's good.
Just like anything else.
Yeah, the nice thing about that kit though is it comes with a case gauge, right?
Yeah.
I believe yes. The kits to the case gauge. Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of case gauges, you may or may not know the answer to this, but the ammo checkers, the single caliber ones, I see there's a lot more than the last time I looked, including 12 and 20 gauge, which is pretty sweet. So I'm gonna have to do some shopping here. I see.
Yeah. No, hey, Mike, you just said that though. I'm looking at 3 of the blocks. I was trying to buy my last one, and it's out of stock.
And what are you trying to buy?
The block ones, the 6-hole ones, or
we're not talking about the block. We're talking about the single checkers.
Those are the ones that go faster than single checkers at times.
Yeah. So, but here's a question for you: can somebody send you a cartridge, like say a Wildcat or something, and you make a custom ammo checker for it?
So I do not believe we get into that market because that's a slippery slope. Customization is a very slippery slope, and it wouldn't make sense for us effectively to get it out there at a certain price. So I would say comfortably that the answer to that is probably no, but by recommending it or asking for it it actually increases the chance of potentially producing it. So
yeah,
I would say, again, we're always listening. That's our biggest thing. We're always listening. They have me on bird dog watch all the time, seeing what everybody's saying, see what everybody's talking about. So, again, I take all these things in and I spit them back out to everybody who goes into producing these things. So
one thing I'm glad to see you guys making now is your 9mm 100 round ammo checker blocks.
Yes, those are specific caliber. Obviously, the 9mm is the first one. I mean, we decided to go with that one because of Mark 7. As they're coming off, you can just grab a few and just drop them in without having to worry about anything, or like do one at a time. So you just have it off the side, do your 100, or anybody can use them as a 100 round block or anything like that. But we just thought that was a really cool idea to kind of mix the two. Once you finish a round, just plop it in, and then when you're done with your 100, just dump them out and you're good.
Wait,
yeah, like I said, I run on that Mark 7, and I shoot 3-gun, and I make sure, and I shoot an STI, so I make sure all of my ammo I shoot through my pistol, I run through one of the 100 round ammo blocks, make sure that everything chambers good, you have no issues, because that's the worst thing, to get out to a match or something and find out you got something funky with some of your ammo. And those single ones are nice, but when you're doing when you're running on something with an auto drive, you're not going to sit there and take a case gauge and
it's all visual.
Yeah, check one, and that's why I also like. I think for the value, those 6-cavity ammo blocks that you sell, you can get one of those for, let's just say it was like $45, and your single ones are $26. So it makes more sense to me to pick up one of your 6-cavity blocks. Most of us shoot multiple calibers, so your ammo block has pretty much all the the common calibers in it.
Travis, excuse me. The lady had a question. Sharenda, did you want to say something?
I thought I was on mute. I was like, wait, what? I didn't know that existed. Oh, and it's not sold out. Hold on. I'm about to go get my debit card. I'll be back.
It came out this year. It's, I did a little push on it. It might not have been the most where everybody got that in their head a little bit, but it's the 100 round ammo block. It's just like any other ammo check. I think right now we're just producing 9mm. But like I said, it's just a 100 round station. They're all semi-spec'd. So
this just gave me a girl chubby.
Well, I'm glad our 100 round ammo checker's doing this. Yes.
Yeah, Sharenda.
Wow, Sharenda, I've never heard that before.
That's a great testimonial. I'll make sure to put that on our website.
Soundbite.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Sharenda. So when you're running your ammo on your 650, that's going to be an awesome addition to just grab all your ammo, dump it in that 100 round block. You can see if you got high primers. You can see if your projectiles poke farther. You can hold it up, your projectiles. You can check all of those. It'll check your cases, make sure everything's because we talk about the plunk test, right, Sharenda? So this is a way of doing that quickly and efficiently. And if you're doing ammo on a higher level, those 100 round blocks are a must.
Even the lower level, what I found is, say you're the reloader. I mean, you're always supposed to be paying attention, right? Real focused on what you're doing, don't want to mess up. But a lot of people say will be watching TV or doing something like that. Being able to take that one little thing away while you're focusing, you don't have to look at it every time. you can just do your set, because you get into a rhythm when you're loading, right? You get into a little bit of a rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like, breaking that rhythm by checking them and then throwing them out, and then, with your individual, you just toss it in there. You keep your rhythm, you toss it in there, keep it in there. So you can keep your rhythm a lot easier with something of that nature. And that was kind of the idea behind it, that and the automation.
And the good thing about those 100-round blocks is you should be able to take like an MTM 100-round case that you store your ammo in and flip them right directly into your storage containers.
Correct. Exactly it.
Now, before I press checkout, there's not going to be any discount code given on the show tonight, is there?
No, with the nature of the world we live in at the moment, no. The most I can offer is a couple of awesome breast catcher giveaways for you, and that's as far as
that's fine. I just didn't want to be bad talking you off the air because I pressed checkout and you gave out some code.
No. That will, you're not missing out. Don't worry. Yeah, you're not gonna miss out on that.
One thing I gotta say, I agree with Travis. I use quite a few of your guys' products, like the case trimmer. I got a couple of the case trays. I use the Case Prep Express Center. I even have actually one of the, going back to when you were talking earlier, one of the Lyman scopes, Alaskans.
You have an Alaskan?
I do. I have it set up on a 1903 sniper rifle, actually.
I would love to see some photos of that. I'm actually personally in the market for one of those at the moment. So I would love to see some pictures of what you have. That's great. I think the history of our company is great, and I didn't find out about it until after I joined. And I don't want to flex the Lyman tune a little bit, but snipers in World War II specifically could have changed the war and did change the war. So, and a lot of those, one thing that was really great about, and back then was, one thing that people don't realize that people used to do and companies used to do back then when they were creating these scopes, Lyman could not produce the scope fast enough to keep up with the war demand. But because everybody was all for one back then, it was so united, they actually unlocked their patent to other people so they could produce them as well. So that's one thing that I thought that was a really neat thing that I don't think you would ever see in 2020 that you saw back then. So
Definitely.
Okay, that's all. That's great. You have one. I would definitely like to see it. And anytime anybody posts anything, if you guys have Lyman products, give us a tag on either Facebook or Instagram, and I'll most likely share it. I love seeing all those.
Yeah, I have a product that none of the rest of them have, but I haven't got a chance to put it together yet.
What's that?
So, this is the start of it.
That looks like a press mount of sorts.
Aha.
Okay.
So, and
Need
one
to
of
raise
the
your
things,
press up.
What's that?
You're trying to raise your press up off the bench a little bit?
Well, I'm building a new area completely. I was in the garage for years, and then the one son moved out, so I claimed his bedroom as soon as I heard he was moving out. In fact, I told the wife I claimed the bedroom before I told her that he was moving out.
By the way, I'm taking our son's bedroom.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said I get Elijah's bedroom as the reloading room, and she goes, "How's that gonna work?" "Oh, he's moving out with his girlfriend." She's like, "What?" So
there you go. No moving. It forced him not to move back too, which is potentially an added bonus, right?
Yeah, but the thing that I like and that was impressing the most about this is the fact that you have the one plate which has got all the set holes and everything for all the Lyman stuff. And then you include a second plate which has some more holes, but also has room for you to drill holes. And it actually says in the advertising that you can drill your own holes. And that's kind of a cool thing that I really like and thought. And that's one of the reasons I picked it up.
We specifically want that to be universal, actually. The reloading industry, while we wish everybody went full orange, just bought nothing but Lyman, we understand that people have preferences on what they do. They have loyalties to companies and things like that, and they buy products that they like or they saw or they seem to have used in the past. So we're not naive to the fact that people use other products from other different companies. So we're not trying to consistently always just overtake and like convert you over to whatever, which we wish we could. But we understand that there's so much crossover, and if you're not using a Lyman press, like hopefully there's something in our product line that you can use, or maybe we can help you use with your other products as well. Because reloading is a community, and it's a very small community, but it's a very loyal community. It's a very close knit community. So,
yeah. One of the main things that this one's going to be for is for when I'm doing demonstration videos and stuff. So a lot of different presses come in and out. And that was one of the most impressive things I saw about that is the fact that I can use that. So what you got to get me, though, is I need a nice bright orange Lyman sticker to put on that. So that way when I'm using his demos.
I've got them. I can send them out. Yep.
All right.
Email me. I'll send out a bunch to you. I'll send out a bunch to you. You can send them out if you want to whoever around here in this community. So, yeah.
But, yeah, that was the one thing that I was bummed. I'm like, oh, it doesn't say Lyman on it anymore.
I want dibs on
I'll get you guys some
dibs.
patches, and I'll get you guys some stickers for sure.
Oh,
and
awesome.
I'll see what else I can scrounge up
Yay.
other than these things so you can get back to the old community. So
I appreciate that. So
yeah, no problem.
Was there one more thing I wanted to ask about? So I've got in the show notes, I've got the links for the TacCom brass catchers or TacStar brass catchers, the 900 or 9mm 100 hole ammo checker. I've got the bore snake, bore cam, sorry, not bore snake, and the pro die packs. Was there anything I missed or anything else you want us to put in the show notes to draw attention to?
I mean, just not really anything individual or specific. Like I said, we have, if you didn't know, we have well over 2,000 products, and if there's a need for it in the reloading industry, we're looking to kind of help it out. So if there's stuff that you guys know you can't find on the market anywhere across the board, don't be afraid to shoot customer service or to contact us, fill out the form, and shoot them a message, be like, hey guys, I've been looking for one of these. You guys plan on doing this? You know, we may say no, we may say thinking about it, but at least you're getting it out there and giving us the ideas from actual loaders, and not what are just 100% assumed to be wanted. So.
Yeah, so I'll get that email address, put the show notes too. How is the AR reloading handbook going? I see it's now a second edition, so obviously it went well enough you did it again.
Yes, it's going actually very well. It gives, because there are people out there who specifically load for their ARs, different things like 300s, all the off-brand, all the off-caliber stuff that isn't so popular. But, it launched, I think, a couple months ago, and the day I launched it, it went nuts. And sales on our site, sales from distributors, it went crazy. It's a very popular book, and it's actually, taken very well to the market.
Hey, Mike, will you scan over to me for 1 second?
Hey, guess what, guys? You see that hand? Is it familiar? Is that a familiar hand?
Is that your hand?
Nice.
I don't want to brag or anything, but that's a really nice looking hand, I have to say.
So you're talented and a hand model. Nice.
Multi-task.
So you guys didn't have the 6 arc in here. Are you gonna? Is that gonna be in the 3rd edition?
So send that. I wouldn't know what's going into 3rd edition, but that kind of information that say you got the book and you're looking for something, didn't have it, that's something you definitely, especially with our books, if something's missing out of any of our load data books, make sure you send that in for sure. Even send it to me, like get my email address, send it to me.
I'm assuming what happened though was you guys had this kind of finished up and kind of on its way out, and then the 6mm arc was released. So it's not anything.
When did that release?
It's the brand new cartridge. Mike, when was that? It's not. It's
late August, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what happened then. That was already probably well into publishing stage or editing stage, things like that. But a very large amount of all the popular calibers. That's why we released the 2nd edition, to kind of catch up to what's actually being, because the landscape of AR shooting and just shooting in general is always changing. Things are becoming popular, things are coming out, things that weren't popular come popular again. And there's new ways of using different things. So that's what's great about reloading, is it is ever changing, and it allows you to ever change. You're not held in by the factory ammunition world. So it's definitely going to be something that most likely will be in a next edition, but we have no plans on even. We just came out with this one, guys. We're going to sit on this one for a little bit.
So yeah, as soon as I seen this was available, I jumped on, and I recommend it to anybody who's. I mean, it's some light reading. It's got all the stuff you need in there. I mean, it's got 50 Beowulf. I'm glad I shoot a 458 SOCOM. I was glad to see that in there, and
that round actually took off in popularity.
Hey, Travis, does it have the 475 Bishop in there?
It does not. I don't think you can fit that into an AR platform.
It fits in an AR-10.
I did see you do actually have 308. Yeah, you have 308 in here.
Awesome. So, all right, Chris, any last shout-outs or anything you want to add before we?
Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys having us on here. Of course, we definitely plan something out for say more Mark 7 specific stuff. But in the future, anytime, just shoot me an email if you guys have questions, want us on for some specific topics, current events, things like that. The loading industry it's growing. It's growing fast. Just in the time that I've been here, there's been a younger demographic coming to our site consistently over the last 6 months. One of our largest groups that have been coming to the actual site has been 25 to 35. Historically, that's not true. It's 55 plus across the board. They got beat out recently by that 25, 35 age group. And I think it's amazing. I think it's great that a bunch of new people are looking into reloading, looking towards reloading, because it keeps it competitive and it keeps it active.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a definite correlation with the amount of new firearms owners we've got. They're that same age group to 25 to 35. So.
Yeah, exactly. And they can't find ammo, so they're looking for other reasons to do it, or they couldn't at the time. So.
We have a good comment here I'd like to highlight, Mike, from Dan Morrison. He wants to thank Chris for giving us a much better perception of Lyman Inc.
So.
Yeah. I try all the time, especially in marketing. I try to portray an actual image of the people that work there and like the company itself. We don't want to be known as just like a manufacturing company that just produces to produce. Like we put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of sweat into everything that comes out. A lot of late hours. We are a larger of the reloading company industries, but at the same time, there's a lot goes into each individual product. A lot. I promise you guys that.
Well said. Only thing I do have one critical question about, not a criticism. Why did y'all change from the big orange crusher to the gray goose?
I don't know why they made that decision.
I'm kidding. It's a great hammer tone, by the way. I know that.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
So. But. All right, Chris. Well, we'll let you get going.
All right, appreciate it. Again,
thanks for joining us, and we'll get that date set up for Mark 7. Yeah,
no problem. Again, any questions or anything, email me. Just remind me back to get those stickers out tomorrow. So
sounds good.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Jason, that is probably the scariest thing I've ever frickin' seen in print. Honestly, Jason, that is really one of the scariest things I've ever seen in print. It is so scary. I'm not going to repeat it, but for those of you who are wondering, you can hop onto the video and about an hour in the comments, you're going to see Jason's comment. It is truly one of the scariest things
about
I've ever
55
seen.
Minutes.
So. Oh, geez. So, all right. So, what's everybody done in shooting and reloading and fun stuff?
I got rained out.
Boo.
Nick, how about you, bud? What did you do?
Went and shot one of my new rifles, the Swiss Vetterli. Finally was able to get it converted in Fireform brass. I actually brought a dummy cartridge tonight so everybody can see what it looks like. It's .41 caliber. Actually, same bullet as a .44 Magnum.
Oh, nice.
230 grain. Actually, this is a 310 grain bullet. I used a 8mm LaBelle case and just fire formed it in the chamber. Lee makes dies actually for it, which is kind of nice. Haven't got to the velocity I need to get to yet. Still experimenting with powders. Other than that, had some other dies come in for some other stuff, and just working on more projects.
Jason?
Sharenda. Hold on. Sharenda, that look you're sporting, I think it would look better on Jason.
He's a possum trapper.
The ice pack or the little kiss I got on the forehead?
Both. And he's not a possum trapper. He's an underwear model.
Oh.
I do both.
So does your wife
in my underwear?
Does your wife have loose change ready when you start coming off them bibs, the model underwear?
I noticed you said loose change, not bills.
Oh God!
Oh, this show's going to get an X-rated.
And Vanessa Kitty, it never hurted. It's just when it swells, it swelled down to my neck. So when it starts swelling again, I start coughing. So
anyway, Sharenda, tell us again how you managed to get that scope bite.
Oh, so some of y'all know I got my first buck Sunday, and I took the kiss for the shot because the buck was at an angle that I couldn't get seated at properly. So I said, screw it. I just went ahead. The only way I could see out my scope was to get my face right up on it and kind of lean my head over like this. And I remember yelling out, French kiss coming, and took the shot and was like, freezer's full. And walked around with this tissue. I actually saved the tissue. I walked around with the tissue on my head all day, which, by the way, Quick Trip napkins are some good stop the bleed. That sucker held on from 7:50 in the morning to 4:30 at night.
Which Quick Trip? QUI?
All of them. Well, we call them QT, but it's QUI.
Yes.
QUIK.
The reason I say that is because there's two different Quick Trips.
Ooh, I learned
There's the QTs, which y'all got, and then there's the KTs, which we got up here.
Okay, so we have the QTs up here.
Yeah.
But so this is true. This is an actual story. This is not me adding on to it. I have a story that I make up about it, but this is the true story of the hunt. I saw 6 bucks, literally. The furthest were 70 yards. The closest were 5. And I got mine at 50. So the funny thing was, the first buck I got came out 30 minutes after shooting time. I shot it. It ran around, came right back out the spot it came in. I shot it again. And I'm like, why is this sucker not going down? So he ran the exact same route, came back out the same spot. And I was getting ready to take a third shot. Then another buck came out the exact same spot. Then 2 more came out the exact same spot. And they were lined up like a video game. And then I panicked because I was like, oh shit. Sorry, I actually said SHIT, and I was like, did I shoot one buck, the same buck twice, or did I shoot 2 different bucks? Oh my goodness. So I just went ahead and put my gun down. And I said, I'm not taking any more shots at anything. As soon as I said that, all 3 of those bucks that were 70 yards away walked up 10 yards, 7 yards, and 5 yards to my blind, and they all looked in there at us like this. And I'm not exaggerating, and I know my yardage is correct, because the whole time I was out there, I had a rangefinder just hitting random spots so I can train myself to visually tell my yardage. Then they walked off to the side of my blind, 5 yards away. All three of them looked at me and hopped off. So then we had to go look for the one, possibly two bucks that I shot. We saw the kick up spots, couldn't find a blood trail. I'm devastated because I'm like, oh gosh. Now, some people were probably thinking, oh, a waste of life. Me was thinking, all that effing meat, and I can't find it. So we went back to the conservation headquarters. All the conservation staff came, well, no, three conservation staff members came out. We tracked it for an additional 2 more hours. When we had already looked an hour, we couldn't find it. So when we go back, every lady was reporting that everyone that shot a deer, there was no blood trail. Like literally. They just so happened to fall over their deer. When they picked them up and turned them over, there was no blood coming out. You had to search for the entry wound and search for the exit wound. It was the freakiest thing ever. So never found mine. Went back the next morning. Same luck of the draw. Buck came out about 7:40. I watched him for about 10 minutes, and that's when I had to get him at that angle. But my buck decided I still couldn't find the blood trail. He decided that he wanted to go over a bluff. It took 6 of us and 2 hours of searching to find this buck down a bluff, and we couldn't even, he was 30 yards from the road. That's just how far he went. We finally found his blood trail 70 yards from where I hit him at, and he only splattered at the one spot and it stopped bleeding. And when we found him, had to search for the entry wound, had to search for the exit wound. All the blood was still in the cavity. It was the freakiest thing ever. I'm walking down the highway. Can you imagine this black chick coming out the woods with this big hair and a shotgun thrown over her shoulder, walking down the highway looking for this deer? I am not exaggerating. It took one guy going to the most oddball spot, and we found my buck. So we couldn't drive out to the road to go get him because it was a dangerous intersection. It's no pass zone, no viewable zone. And we had to haul this buck back up this bluff. And a guy actually strapped on a harness like a horse, a workhorse, and we drugged this deer back up this cliff.
Idaho Rogers has a question for you, Sharenda.
Yes.
It's highlighted on the screen.
Oh, hold on. This was I wish. It was the weirdest thing. I was on public land. It was a managed conservation hunt, and it was women only, and it was shotgun. And I was not using my shotgun. The conservation said if you shot their guns, they supply the ammo. So with ammo the way it is, I was like, bet. So I was using a youth 20 gauge, which I've never shot 20 gauge. By the way, I hate that effing ammo. I would never use that ammo ever again. And the ammo had so many complaints that even the mentors that were with us, they're all going to do a ballistics test because every deer that was brought in had no blood trails. And if they did, it did exactly like mine. One little puddle and it stopped. Like, seriously. But yep, got my first buck. I treated myself.
Maybe next time you just need to use 105 Mike howitzer.
Maybe next time I just need to use my own 12 gauge and not some 20 gauge. But yeah, but the shotgun had a scope on it. So yep, I was like, forget. This was day 2. 2, possibly 3 bucks later, and I was like, nah, I'm taking this hit. This is personal.
Congratulations, lady. Welcome
Thank
to the club.
But $6, 30 minutes in, that was like the weirdest thing ever. And I wasn't even going for a buck. I was like, whatever sticks his head out is going in my bellies.
Chris Sharp is at it again. Chris Sharp says, "Thanks, shares. Sharenda, the only thing that would be more concerning image would be the podcast's resident underwear model coming out of the woods in his best with a shotgun."
My goodness, I'm telling y'all that had to have, I wonder, I'm gonna call the conservation tomorrow and ask them, did they get any calls from the game wardens or the police? Because I literally emerged out the woods, blood on my face, looking
Big hair,
pissed,
shotgun, and fire.
big hair, shotgun, and camo. Yeah. Yep. Oh, but he was only 5 points too. So I mean, it wasn't a big buck, but still, that's the second deer I've ever harvested, and it was a buck, and he was a nice size too.
That's 2 more than I got in 20 years of trying.
Oh, cool.
So
that's what I did, and I'm going to go get me some quackers this weekend.
There you go.
So that's all I've done. Not much of nothing.
Yeah. Travis? Paging Travis.
So, yes. So I've gone to the range twice. You can see I got a wall painted.
Yep.
Got a couple things hung up there. Still waiting for one more item to go right directly behind me. And if you guys don't like this wall color, you can send your complaints to Sharinda, because this is what she
better
recommended.
Not send a complaint.
So I said I got this wall painted, and I got over there. I got the new bench. I got some stuff moved from this bench over to this one. I got some stuff coming tomorrow I get to work with, and then when that's all done, I'll show you guys the new reloading bench over there. But it's been real nice having this extra bench, because now I can. I'm still out of room. I think I need to have a whole nother gun room now, because I still need more room. I don't get it. It just seems like you can never have enough room.
You need to buy yourself a reloading shed.
It's terrible.
Well, this is basically a shed.
Like
this
40
is
by 60.
Yeah, I would need something like that, because this is bigger than pretty much any shed.
Oh, this is the ammo I was using too. I don't know if y'all can see that, but never again.
Yeah. Turn it a little bit. The box doesn't show up that well.
Oh. I don't know.
There you go.
Yep.
So.
I'll never use those again.
Well, there goes another sponsor.
So. Those must have been the ones made in California then.
And the funny part was the worker that approved them and recommended them ordering this stuff came from the state of Illinois. And so I made the comment, why in the hell would y'all take an ammo suggestion from an Illinois resident?
What's that mean?
You know the correct term for an Illinoisan, right?
No.
Fib. Present company excluded on that, by the way, Nick.
Oh.
So, fib, the second letter is Illinois. The third letter depends on whether they're male or female, on whether it's bastard or B with an itch. And the first letter, I'm pretty sure y'all can figure out.
Fire truck.
There you go.
Fire trucking.
So, yeah.
Y'all are bad tonight. Terrible.
Jason, how's painting?
Are you really going to go with powder blue or sky blue like that, Travis, or is that a light?
Oh, there's a neon light.
What? No.
That's a neon light back here?
What is this, Sharinda? This is like a...
I don't know the exact color, but it's like a gray blue.
Like an eggshell gray? Okay, I saw the neon light and I wasn't sure.
And it's matte, right? It's matte paint, right? Because I recommended he use matte so he wouldn't get a glare.
I was at the store talking with Sharinda, and I picked exactly... Yeah, if you go big on me for a second, you can see what that... This is just something cheap I just grabbed off of Amazon. Oh, it's really glary. It's just a little neon light. That's what you're seeing there.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Really, really
But
glary.
you can see I got really nice
Circle of life.
Yeah,
I got that too.
Circle of life sitting over there, and I got some nice old stuff sitting up here, and so
So. Jason?
Old 1874 iron bragger.
Yep. See, that way he doesn't have that problem. So Jason, how's painting?
It's great.
Have you done anything besides painting lately?
Just before the podcast, I stepped outside and there was a skunk in my garden. So I grabbed my pellet gun and tried to get a shot. Back in Oklahoma, when I was 15 years old, I shot a skunk in the side. Worst smell ever. And I told somebody, and they said, you need to shoot him in the head, lights out, and then you keep the odor down.
Yep.
So I waited and I watched, and he never presented his head to me. And finally, he went under the fence, and now he's the neighbor's problem. So that was about as close to guns that I got this week.
Well, that counts.
And it was a he. He had
Lifted
big
its
old
leg on the way
setup.
out the door.
big brass ones he flashed me as he was going under the fence.
Oh, y'all might laugh at me. I'm actually gonna see if I can get him mounted. The mount I wanted to do is $975, so that's off the table.
Do an English mount, Sharinda.
I don't know what that is, so let me Google that.
I think you'll like it. That's what I did with my first book.
Mount. Okay, because I was gonna do a pack out since my place, my walls are not that big, but I was like, no, I can't do that.
Actually, let me find mine. It's in the other room.
There you go. So, Jason, now you're a cologne model too. My question is, was the skunk crawling or was it hopping?
He was walking.
He was just,
you.
that's what I was thinking.
Jason, if you ever get another skunk, can I have the fur? I mean, yeah.
Tell her to come and get it, Jason.
Dang right.
I mean, I seen this guy with these gloves he made out of skunk hide, and I thought they would be nice to get that skunk stripe up my arms, and yeah.
That would be nice. I'll
Get
tell
your
you
own
what, when I
22.
shoot one, you come here and you get it.
Okay.
Hey, that's it.
Yeah, we were turkey hunting up at my uncle's one time, and there was a skunk that kept walking around, so we decided we were just going to go take care of it. 410 to the head. That was the end of that. But I'm the lucky one that got to scoop it up with a snow shovel and carry it across the street. Well, at some point in time, somehow, it leaked and I stepped in it. Never realized it. Put my boots in my tote.
Ooh.
Closed the tote. Packed it up, and next morning, it was sitting out in the porch. So packed it up in the truck. Next morning, drove home. Get all the stuff out and everything, and cracked the lid on that tote and went, whoa! Slam that lid back quick. But dead downwind scent control, I had been using that for bow hunting, or for doing some scouting and stuff, and for regular deer hunting. I sprayed everything in that tote with dead downwind, put it all back in the tote, shut the tote, opened it 2 days later, and it was gone. Not a trace of skunk anywhere.
Oh, I'm going to have to add that to my list.
So.
Dead downwind. Oh, and if y'all want some mild entertainment this weekend, I'm going to be in some waders.
That ought to be hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Now, see, the real entertainment when we watching you put waders on.
Oh, y'all want a video of that?
Because that's entertaining.
All right, I'm gonna do a video. Let y'all
Usually
have
involves
a good laugh.
a lot of cursing and swearing for me.
If you don't have to jump, to put those waders on, I don't want it.
All right, challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
That's awesome.
Jason, did you paint your room?
Did I what?
Did you paint your room?
You painted the
did.
whole house.
Okay, because I was like, it looks really crisp and clean in there. Does that make sense?
Yep. It took me like 2 months, but yeah, I redid the drywall, redid the flooring, everything in my room, filled up our dining room for the 2 months that it took me to get this room done.
Well, where's your camo curtains?
They are hanging. I just didn't close them.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's what was missing. This is kind of like, hey, what did you do something different with your hair? And I was it's like, oh, your room looks nice.
Thank you.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're not gonna share that one either. So you guys gotta check out the chat. There's some good stories tonight.
1 minute, 1 hour, 20 minutes.
Yep. So Jim Madaw said dead downwind also helps if your dogs get sprayed. Yes, it does. My neighbor's dog got sprayed, and I gave him the shampoo that I had, and they washed the dog, and it was good. So, but yes, Manfred, if you're coming to Manfred, if you want to move, Idaho and Montana are very good places to go. So is Wyoming. So,
Shrenda, you've made a friend of Wally Crosby. Look him up.
I am, and Wally, I'll take anything because I'm also getting ready to start making them flip. I got some squirrel tails. Don't ask no questions. They're getting ready to get turned into fishing lures.
Speaking of squirrel tails and fishing lures, did you know that you can actually take your tails and mail them to MEPS, the lure company?
I heard that. I learned that this weekend.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can mail your squirrel tails to MEPS, and then they give you credit for them towards lures.
Yeah, and I think the person that was telling me about them said they prefer it with the bone in.
Yep.
Which is good because the bone
you just literally
is in
lop
mine.
it off.
Okay.
Yep.
That's one of the most rednecks things I've ever heard in my life.
Hey,
it's a Wisconsin company. What do you expect?
Yeah, my card has been
Wisconsin.
revoked so many times, and I'm about to be on PC. So when I say my card, it's called a black card. It's been revoked by white people.
The five of us haven't revoked it.
Nope.
Yeah, it got took away a couple years ago.
Oh yeah. So, and yes, GGW Reloading, yes, they still do it. So, anyway, so Nick, you have a cartridge for the Cartridge Corner.
I do, and I'm going to see if anybody can guess it with what episode number it is real quick. If you think you know what it is, put it in the chat.
Episode 323. Any guesses?
8mm LaBelle.
No, we did that already. No guesses.
Is it something Carcano?
No.
Nope.
41 Swiss Rimfire.
No.
So.
I tried.
It is 7.92 by 57 millimeter. Also known as 8mm Mauser.
Okay.
Which is usually a .323 bore for casting. So there.
So a little bit of history on the cartridge. The original cartridge was known as Patron 88, which was designed in 1888 for the rifle known as the Commissioner 88 or the Gewehr 88, depending on who you talk to. They use that. It's used a 220 grain projectile. So this is actually a in block for Commissioner 88. This is a 220 grain projectile. Moves about 2,000 feet per second. These were what they originally designed for. These were designed to replace the 11 millimeter that they were using, a big black powder cartridge. This was actually designed right after the 8 millimeter LaBelle. If anybody knows much history, the 8 millimeter LaBelle was actually the first smokeless round ever produced for military use. These actually are not a 323, so these are a 319 diameter projectile. And in 1905, when they switched over to the standard 8 millimeter Mauser, they bored out the chamber a little bit to be able to accept the 323 diameter bullet. So after that, they kind of went on using the 8 millimeter Mauser. During World War I, they used a nickel coated bullet like this. These are actually 1934 dated rounds right here. I actually brought a whole box from the house. So this is pre-Nazi ammo. Nice. This actually goes for a pretty good amount of money on the surplus market. Another nice thing about 8 millimeter Mauser, majority of the countries during World War II, about half of them used 8 millimeter Mauser in their rifles. Here's just a small list. You have Belgium, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Austria, Turkey, Egypt, and the list can go on, and including Germany, which is that was their main infantry round from World War I through World War II. It wasn't until I believe the 60s, looking at my data here, was when they changed to the NATO Cartridge 308. Nice thing about 8 millimeter Mauser, it's a parent cartridge for a lot of other neck down other cartridges. I brought some, this is actually Yugo from the 50s. So even into the 50s, other countries were producing 8 millimeter Mauser. You can still use 8 millimeter Mauser as a very common hunting cartridge today. You'll usually find them in anywhere from 150 grain, right around the 155, 160 grain. And then most common is going to be your 198 grain projectiles known as large B cartridge. Even a country like Romania in the 50s produced it in a steel lacquer case. And not a lot of people know much about those. It's actually pretty good shooting ammo if you get a chance to pick some up. It's pretty cheap normally. It goes by a ton of different names, depending on where you read. It can go by 8 millimeter Mauser, 7.92 by 57, 8 by 57 JS. It all just depends on who is making the ammo. Like Seller and Beloit, they call some of theirs 8 by 57 JS. If you see that, it's standard 8 millimeter Mauser. There's a ton, still quite a bit of surplus ammo on the market. So I've had a gentleman here in the chat, GGW Reloading, been asking me some questions on it. Still a fun cartridge to shoot. You can get any rifles, especially surplus rifles, you can still get pretty cheap. And there's also a lot of offshoots of the 8 millimeter Mauser. Sweden designed a cartridge in the 40s, which is known as, I wrote it down, is the 8 by 63. They used it in some of their rifles. It wasn't a common cartridge, also known as the M39. Poland used it. Norwegians also used a 8 millimeter style cartridge in the Norwegian Kreg. British used them in some of their Bessa machine guns. Not a lot of people know that. But yeah, that it can go. I could talk for days on 8 millimeter Mauser. It's a very fun cartridge. It's got a very, and then it's another way with going into converging. You can use it for all sorts of different conversions. So 30-06, stuff like that. It's a very common wildcatting piece of brass. And hunt shoot, this is not Nazi marked ammo. It is Nazi ammo if you want to think about it. This was actually produced in the factory if you look at the writing, it's still in that Imperial style writing. So I would classify it as Nazi ammo, but it's not truly marked Nazi ammo. I have in a different cartridge for the Steyr M95 straight pull. I have 1935 dated Nazi head stamp ammo for that gun. But yeah, this isn't Nazi marked. They do have some out there that is Nazi marked. I just don't have any. But that's about it.
All right. Thank you very much for that. It's one of those common cartridges that you hear a lot about, but or not, you don't hear a lot about. So,
Thank you.
Well done, Nick. Well
then,
done. You did better than
Jorgen's
I
got a
did.
question. He says, "Doesn't the JS differentiate between the 319 and the 320?"
I do not know. I tried to do some research on that. I couldn't find anything. So I imagine it means something, but I'm not sure exactly what that JS stands for. I've looked it up at one time and I couldn't figure out what the true definition was. Another thing,
Okay.
I don't know much if people know what the very first assault rifle was, known as the Sturmgewehr or the MP44. They actually used the same case, cut it down, and necked it for an 8mm bullet. And that's known as the 7.92 Kurtz or 8mm Kurtz. It's also known as 7.92 by 33 Kurtz. It's just a shortened 8mm Mauser. And that was the first assault rifle. So it's very similar, kind of like a 7.62 by 39.
All right. Awesome. So, yeah, that kind of wraps everything up for tonight. I mean, it's a little different format than usual, so. But, yeah, pretty awesome. Nick and I are going to try and work on making sure we get more cartridge corners. So, having Nick's knowledge is going to be helpful in that. So. All right, gang. Anybody got any shout-outs other than Chris at Lyman? Don't everybody speak at once.
I got nothing. Yet.
Alrighty.
I'm still buck drunk. Maybe next week.
Okay. It happens. So. All right, gang. Thanks to Chris at Lyman for coming on and talking and telling us about some Lyman stuff. And then Jorgen was just listening some of the Mauser family in the show notes, or the chat, so you'll have to check that out. So, just grateful for everybody that tunes in every week. And everybody that comes into the chat every week for the live show, everybody that sends us emails at reloadingpodcast@gmail.com, everybody that sends us text or voicemails at 608-467-0308, everybody that swings over to firearmsradio.tv and hits up the Amazon and Brownells affiliate links, everybody that heads over to Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co. We're grateful for all those people that head over there too. They're a great sponsor. Also grateful for everybody that's a Patreon. So just that's very grateful for everybody that's in that group. So appreciate it. Also grateful for everybody that hits the like or the thumbs up button, depending on where you're watching the show or the live broadcast. So. All right, gang. On that note, keep your brass shiny.
Riveting, Jason.
Shut up, Travis. I never do that. Be an asset, not a liability.
It's not a matter of if, but when.
And teach a lady how to reload. She'll enjoy it.
Nick, you're up.
Give surplus a try. You'll enjoy it.
Support the Second Amendment, guys. That's all I got tonight.
Squeeze! Good night, all.
Night.